Remakes and adaptations are becoming ever prominent in today's cinematic market. We've seen it with the likes of the new Halloween film Halloween Kills, but it's just happened again with the brand new film Ghostbusters Afterlife. So in today's video I'm going to share my thoughts, ideas and reviews basically of what the film was like and what I actually thought. Let's jump into it. As I've mentioned in a number of videos, especially in a video essay that has just been published, if you want to go watch that, hit the card up here. There's also a link in the description as well. There are more and more remakes and adaptations being made from previous and past work. So we've seen it fairly recently with the Halloween trilogy. Well, it's not really a trilogy now, it's a huge amalgamation of films. But then further into Ghostbusters. So I remember as a kid growing up watching the really retro versions from like the 80s and 90s. And then now we've had a version in 2021 that tries to blend and bring that story more into the modern day. I think the approach was fairly effective. It kind of has these throwbacks to the equipment that was used in the original films, with the original Ghostbusters traps, the sort of cool car where they slide out and they manage to catch them with the sort of gun things that they have. I'm absolutely blastering the names. I can't remember any of the names of all the equipment. So I do apologise. But the actual way that it's put together is a little bit more complex than the original films. In the original films, we see that the adult team of guys taking on the sort of intergalactic threat, being ghosts, obviously. But then in this film, we see the kids trying to take on that role. And it's a little bit different because obviously they're trying to sort of tunnel it to a 12A audience. So some of the stuff and the gore is chopped out a little bit too much. I think the actual characters and the character development is fairly good and fairly well rounded as we see the kid progress throughout the film. But I just want to make a note on the narrative structure. I can remember some of the characters' names, like Gary, but then, I mean, some of the other ones just kind of like slip straight out of my mind. It's almost like the mum's boyfriend, the brother, the daughter, and the brother's girlfriend as well. So it's a bit like, maybe that's just my personal opinion. If you have any ideas about that sort of stuff, just leave a comment down in the comment section, just so I can get your feel. But generally, that's what I thought. I think the CGI and the approach to actually computer-generated imagery within the film was fairly good. Obviously, when you're comparing it to the original Ghostbusters from the 80s, they've got the more filmy look, especially with the CGI, because that's rendered straight onto the film plate. But in this film, they try and pay a little bit of a more homage to that. Obviously, trying to implement the CGI effects, but having the sort of Ghostbuster tonality associated with it. I think that was fantastic, and as I've mentioned before, I'm a huge nerd when it comes to CGI, and seeing CGI done in a really, really good way was very, very interesting. Also, further onto that note, that kind of blends back into the narrative structure, was the inclusion of the grandfather, or the father, however you want to see it. And he appears as a ghost within the film. He obviously died in real life, so this film is more of a homage and sort of a film for him almost, in his sort of benefit and aid. And the way that they actually brought his character back to life, obviously he's a non-speaking part, but it's all just sort of facial and motion capture. It's very, very good. I think that it expelled the story and really gave a nice sort of tonal shift and tonal end and wrapped up the film in a very, very nice way. The ending of the film is very emotional, without spoiling too much. I thought it was very, very effective, but I did also feel that it was a little bit rushed. I feel like the first section of the film was a little bit slow, sort of had to pick up pace a little bit, and then towards the end it kind of picked up a little bit more and it paid off. But I don't think it's as good as the original Ghostbusters films, just because I prefer the originals. But with that said, I thought this film was pretty good. As I said, you've got to kind of stick with it in the first sort of section of the film, but it does kind of develop and move forward towards the end. If you guys have seen this, please let me know in the comment section, because I would love to hear your feedback on it. But that has been all for today's video. Thank you very, very much for watching. If you like these videos, please hit like, hit subscribe, and I will hopefully see you in the next one. See you then. Bye-bye.